Is this enough? Or must we do more? What's up, guys? Here we are to do a nice little breakdown and discussion on whether or not the nerfs, the debuffs, everything that has happened to Ryomen Sukuna has been good enough to justify his hypothetical loss to the two main characters. The strongest main character in history and the strongest main character of today, and Yuta Agotsu and Yuji Gotodori. We have a nice little decent chunk to talk about. So let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Editing me. Ready. 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact. Ryomen Sukuna. To put it lightly, I was about to get all complicated with it. To put it lightly, this man right here has been going through it. Going through it to the point where I almost have a fraction of pity for. Well, actually, no, I do like Sukuna. Admittedly, as the character gets more and more characterization and more explanation and more screen time, Sukuna is definitely growing on me. So I actually do generally feel bad for the guy that he's low-key getting jumped. I mean, he's done nothing wrong. That's a video I plan to make. Everything Sukuna did was self-defense. He's perfectly fine. But with that being the case, naturally, Ryomen Sukuna has been experiencing a lot. A lot. And with all that he's done, it's caused an issue, right? Even up to this point where he's received all he's received. A big worry, a big concern that a lot of people have right now is, okay, Geya Akutami, you introduced Gojo Satoru. You made him insanely powerful. Next level. Strongest character in the manga. You hyped him up, glazed him up, gave him so much slop, the top was overflowing. And then you had him lose to this guy. You had him lose to this guy after having him awaken a new ability, an extension of his curse technique. Bada bing, bada boom, you made him all next level. So, of course, what did you do? You made a really, really strong guy, and then you had that really, really strong guy, and arguably the strongest we've ever seen him, outside of, missing his domain. You made that really, really strong guy lose to this really, really strong guy when this really, really strong guy was arguably at his weakest that we may have ever seen him. Missing a hand, missing 2 eyes, missing a foot. Bro was on the verge of perishing. If he was 2 feet closer to that hollow purple, he may have been atomized. But then you had this fella, this silly little guy right here, defeat the strongest sorcerer of the modern day. And of course, with the strongest of the modern day gone, that left us with some rabble. And by rabble, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Tosa. I'm talking about Kashima. I'm talking about insert character here. And heck, as much as I love both Yuji Itadori and my boy Yuta Akotsu, as much as I love him, they part of the rabble too. Sure, Yuta Akotsu may be 100 million, billion, nonillion, quintillion, duodecillion% the third strongest character in the verse. At this point, with Gojo gone, he is basically the second strongest in the verse at this point. Yeah, but once again, the gap between number 1 of the modern day and number 2 of the modern day was so massive that despite this man having full access to a domain that gave him an infinite supply of katanas that wielded curse techniques of various varieties, some that fundamentally alter the nature of the world itself through space manipulation, others that allow clairvoyance and transcendence of the present to see into the future, others that allow the ability to erase evil spirits and curse techniques in general. All this, you still went out of your way, Geya Akutami, to make it so that this fellow right here, with what could be argued the most broken domain in the series, was still considered weaker than the second strongest character in the verse, when that second strongest character was missing an arm, was brain damaged, and was running low on RCT. So the gap, fat, massive, wide, gargantuan, insert whatever adjective that means large that you'll want. The gap was huge. And here's the thing with huge gaps, especially on a narrative level, especially when that narrative level has to deal with not just character interaction, but power scaling, or power in general. it's gonna be hard to make a character like that lose and make it make sense. That's the biggest issue here. And of course, it's led to the question, a question that a lot of people are naturally asking. How are we gonna beat this man and have it not feel like nonsense? For the longest time, people such as your boy were having that good juicy copium. Oh, well, the merger gonna pop out, and then Sukuna gonna have to fight the merger. The one thing that could be as powerful, as juicy, as volatile and crazy. Yeah, but then he ate it. He ate the Dharma, like he lost. Kenny got chopped, and now Sukuna ate it. So there goes the merger. And personally, I'm still in the camp that Gojo Satoru should not come back. If he does, man. But I feel like he shouldn't, and I don't know. I feel like Gegaki Utami is not that kind and or caring, nor cares enough to bring him back. So, I don't think that's going to happen. And once again, as long as Sukuna is not in this place, he would have full access to the thing to one-shot Gojo Satoru again, and he most likely very easily would. So, Gojo wasn't the anime. So, what do we do? Right? Are we just going to have Madara again, where we have to introduce an entirely separate, much stupider antagonist that has a much easier win con than the one that we were currently just fighting? Such as the merger, which is what a lot of people have been comparing it to. A lot of people are seeing, into the future and are like, oh no, we're going to get a Kaguya situation again, except it's going to be merger Tengen, and that's going to be Kaguya instead of Madara, who's going to be Sukuna in this comparison. No! But, big booty, butt cheeks. Gegaki Utami played some cards. First things first, the first card he played was, boom, Satoru Gojo. As Sukuna mentions. Well, actually, no. This is very specific to a certain location. Sukuna mentions that there are certain issues that have come with the current state of this battle. Number one, my cursed energy output isn't just low because of Satoru Gojo. Number one, his cursed energy output dropped massively because of the battle with Satoru Gojo. He expended a whole bunch of energy, and his output has drastically dropped, to the point where he believes it doesn't need to be harder than that, but unless it makes contact and cuts equal to that guy's attack, he'll never deliver a fatal wound. So, he's currently in a spot where these casual dismantles that would most likely one-shot them, something that both Yuji Itadori and Yuta Okotsu both believe, if it weren't for the fight against Gojo-sensei, Sukuna would have healed and wiped us out in an instant. So, it's quite clear, pretty clear here, that without his output being dropped, they'd be one-shot. And notably, this is them while not being one-shot and still getting hit. They do take pretty decent amounts of damage and have to immediately, and I mean immediately, RCT up. So, this is something that they did have to do. So, that's one. His output has dropped massively. Number two, another big counter. You see them hands? You see them hands? How they clasp together like that? How they looking all nice and close? And how they're literally clasped throughout this entire chapter? Clasped here. They are always being held together. Even when bro's back is getting torn apart. When he's receiving divine back shots from the blessed child himself, he's still keeping them hands held together. Yeah, that's really, really good. And presumably his belly mouth, despite us not really hearing it or seeing it, it is currently, along with the lower set of arms, being taken up to yap. And as a yapper myself, I know the importance and potency of yapping. And of course, in Jujutsu Kaisen, you need to be able to yap really, really well in order for your techniques to get increases in potency. And with that being taken away, Sukuna himself is like, yeah, shoot. And I can't fire Dismantle, which is a broad strike, and cuts the world, while also maintaining Hollow Wicker Basket. You can't do that. That's another big thing. The hands are clasped together. And also because of Satoru Gojo, he still can't use his domain. This is what he verbatim says after analyzing himself. Thanks to my fight against Satoru Gojo, I still can't use my domain, and the effects on my reverse curse technique are weakened. So, his reverse curse technique, trash. His curse technique output, trash. He can't use domain, trash. He can't do anything with World Slash, trash. Meaning he has to get up close and get all up on him. He has to get the grippers on him. He has to grip him up like a marmot. And even then, we saw against Yuji Itadori, when he got gripped up like a marmot, it didn't actually take him out, he just healed up. So, still, it's even questionable if this Sukuna, who's taken multiple hits from Yuji Itadori, is still even possible? if it's still capable, if it's still in his cards to actually one-shot them. Note, he flips his hand, grabs Itadori here, but before he can complete his technique activation, he gets stopped by Yuta, which implies that he couldn't activate it fast enough for Yuta to immediately come up, real nice and close in his ear, and be like, "Hey, baby girl, don't you do that to me right now. I need you to stop that. You're being a bad boy for Big Daddy Yuta." Like, he very specifically did that, too. So, Sukuna, he's taking some hits. He's taking some nerves. And of course, once again, while the first card to take away the domain, to weaken his RCT, to weaken his genuine output was Satoru Gojo, realize the second card is played. The fact that we're seeing this guy, this fella, this silly little dude with his 4 arms, 4 eyes, he would never have 2 mouths. 2 mouths. Nothing else. I could never, ever be referencing anything else that Sukuna may have 2 of. Never. I would never be alluding to anything. He definitely does not have 4 of anything. He definitely doesn't. He has 4 arms. 4 arms. 2 sets of arms and 4 arms. There's nothing else that Sukuna could have 2 sets of and or 4 of. I promise you. Nothing that could be remotely alluding. Where's something round? Where's something... let's just say that you see how Yuta down here, you see how Bucko started, I don't know, dual wielding. Let's just loosely say Yuta Kotsu may not be the only one dual wielding. But jokes aside, I'm not kidding. But jokes aside, put that on top of the fact that he's incarnated. That's a very big thing. Remember, the main reason he did that is because his RCT output was so trash. He figured that, okay, shoot, if I fight Kashimo, as I am now, I will lose. Because I am not able to heal myself properly. Meaning that Kashimo probably, most certainly would have washed super fatigued 20-finger Megalodon. Meaning he had to incarnate. He burnt this reincarnation card. He has nothing else. Unless he huffs it away, he's kind of cooked. He needs to fight right now. He can no longer restore his flesh in any other way, shape, or form. He has to wait for his RCT output to come back. But guess what? The first card was Gojo Satoru. The second card was Kashimo Hajime, forcing his incarnation. The third card is this domain itself, forcing him to hold these hands together like his life depends on it. I don't like how low his hands are there in that shot, though. That looks actually kind of nasty. But the final card, well, not the final card, because there's another card on top of the card, because there are a whole bunch of cards. The major card that's still getting in his way is a little guy we like to call Yuji Itadori. This guy right here is also causing this big old fella a whole bunch of trouble. And why? Because remember, his output is already kind of taking some damage, right? Gojo Satoru being forced to incarnate, all stuff like that, the brain damage, the numbers. But Yuji Itadori's also here. And he's also doing numbers. Every single time he lands a hit, certain things happen. As he says here. There's another problem. They're applying the same principle that allowed the boys' attacks to have an effect on the Patch Face Curse. They're targeting the boundary between my soul and Megumi Fushiguro's soul, in an effort to awaken Fushiguro's soul, which I submerged in the bath, and to disrupt the attunement of our physical forms. Every time I take an attack from the boy, my cursed energy output drops and my physical control decreases. Despite the risk, they intend to chip away until I can no longer maintain Hollow Wicker Basket, and then use Angel's Curse Technique, Jacob's Ladder, to remove the cursed object from inside Fushiguro. So, Yuji Itadori, right here, right now, is currently weakening Sukuna with every single strike. No matter what, if Sukuna interacts with Yuji, while Yuji's intentionally going to launch form, he's going to get weaker. That first punch that Sukuna blocked way back when, right after Kashimo's end, yeah, that actually weakened Sukuna's output and overall ability. This drop kick right here weakened Sukuna's overall output and durability. This grasp right here may have weakened Sukuna's output and overall durability and control and everything, meaning he's very consistently weakening, bit by bit, piece by piece, and it does not stop. As these two Mink-Minks right here also do more damage, and this double palm strike does damage on damage and lowers his control, lowers his output, lowers his attunement, and is driving him closer and closer to unleashing and ungripping those two big old grippers. And ultimately, being lost in the darkness. But that darkness isn't one of, like, literal darkness, but the darkness of, like, not having control over the body anymore. Meaning he's vesselless and reduced to a cursed object. And, fun fact, cursed objects cannot block Jacob's Ladder, which is something he's genuinely worried about as of right now. So all of this has been laid on. All of this has been slapped on the table by Geigaku's-san. Brain damage, low RCT output, someone who's consistently attacking the attunement and fusion of the souls, the consistent threat of Jacob's Ladder, which will do numbers to Sukuna anyway, since he still viably counts as a cursed object. Everything here is doing numbers to Ryomen Sukuna. And heck, I haven't even really mentioned Yuta Kotsu, who's still dealing out attacks, slowly but surely wearing down Sukuna's output, cursed energy, and control. And also Rika Orimoto, the Queen of Curses, who's also in here, beasting all over Sukuna, doing numbers upon numbers upon numbers upon numbers. So, all of this goes to the base question of this video. Is it enough? Is all of this reasonably enough that if Sukuna were to lose right now, say in 251, let's say right after brother got smacked in the face by his own technique, after his own fangs were turned against him, is this enough that if Sukuna were to lose the moment 251 opens, we open up 251 and he's chilled in the airport and he's like, oh wow, and then Gojo Satoru asks, oh, how is the Blessed One? And Sukuna says, his copy technique, I haven't seen it since the Heian era. And then we get a happy ending, and it really was our Jujutsu Kaisen and all that. Is it satisfying? Does it work? Or is it nonsense? Is it garbage? Is it stupid? Does it feel like Gege writing themselves out of a corner? I think not. I feel like Gege's been very particular about everything up to this point, building it to the point where all of these factors have either been hinted at, directly explained, or we've seen the ramifications of. Sukuna's brain damage, it's been established for like, what's the brain damage happen? Like 232, 233? We're on 250. That's been established for 17 chapters. Bro's been without his domain for a minute, his automatic win con. Heck, Yuta Kotsu having Jacob's Ladder, like everybody named Mama assumed it. Bro's seen it. Like, at least once, confirmed on panel, and also, he literally had a whole month of prep time, so him not having Jacob's Ladder wouldn't make sense. Sukuna being forced to hold Hollow Wicker Basket like this and chant, and not be able to use World Slash, that does feel weird. That does feel weird, because he mainly just says here, it's like, oh, because Hollow Wicker Basket, I'm using that, thusly I cannot use... Because I guess he can no longer extend the target of a technique while also using another technique. It doesn't seem like it's a hands or an output or an RCT or anything, efficiency thing. It just seems like he can't do both. He can't extend the technique and use Hollow Wicker Basket, which is... I'm not saying it's not hinted at, but like we don't really have many extension techniques or people with 4 arms. So I'll just take it. Like, it's not necessarily too nonsensical of a reason for him to not be able to use World Slash. And top it off with the fact that, yeah, it's been hinted at since forever that Yuji Todori would be able to attack the soul. Not even hinted, it's been confirmed. This has been a part of his narrative since, like, chapter 25. We're on 250. It's been, like, 5 years. Like, we've been known bro could do this. And, of course, considering Sukuna is a dual-souled being, it's the main reason Yuji was, for the longest time, a dual-souled being. It would make sense that every single attack that Yuji does knocks him down. It would make sense that this final incarnation would leave him with some lasting issues. Even with his incarnation, everything here has been built up to. Everything here has been explained. Everything here justifies Sukuna's loss, in my opinion, without it feeling nonsensical. Sure, would I not want Sukuna to be off-screen? Absolutely. I do want him to go out in some sort of dignified way if he does go out here. But at the same time, if we do open up 251 and he's in the airport, I wouldn't be mad. I feel like Gege's done enough. I feel like Gege's done enough that if they win here, if our two main characters truly do clutch up to infinity and win here, it makes sense. All the sacrifices, all the losses, all the pain, the agony, the suffering, everything that's been chipping away at the inviolable mountain that is Ryomen Sukuna, it's having its mark, finally. Chipping away at that stone has finally left a dent big enough, and it feels like the narrative's done enough work that if Sukuna were to fall, I would not call it nonsense. And honestly, with how many, and I mean how many series I've seen with major antagonists that make them fall to some sort of nonsense, it making sense is the very least I'll take. Also, the very most. However, that's what I think. Please, what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think Sukuna's gotten enough nerfs and or direct attacking nerfs and weaknesses and all that for it to make sense that he were to lose here and now? Or do you think, no, there's still not enough, we need to rip his extra arms off or something in order to make it so that his loss would make sense? Please let me know in the comment section down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave leave low tier. Low tier, fit it into a sentence, just low tier, anything. Leave low tier in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do happen to have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include live reactions to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen. Also, you can, whoa, why did I say it like that? Also, you can become a $25 patron or a $25 member to request any video of your own. It can literally be 55 hours of me praising. I'm not going to say that. There will never be panda praise. But honestly, you can force me to do it if you become a $25 patron and order a video of your own. But now, I did thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays, Red Wolf 4765, Greyhound, and Atkins Void. I'd like to give another big thank you to our $5 patrons, Victor, Sean, RNG Master, Midnight Gemlord, Metal Solid Crisis, Kevin, Igneal, and Demix LND. Another scrumptious thank you to our $7 members, Autumn, Mornings, Lazo, and Sick Addiction. And I'd like to give another hefty thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha, Joaquin, Idemokami, and China Doll 09. And I'd like to give another gargantuan thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. And I'd like to give a thank you, an amazing thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder. And another thank you to our next $25 patron, eHack1. And a final thank you to our final $25 patron, Stira.